Trade deadline has come and gone, and Raptors fans were expecting some big things, and they might just have gotten it as we finally move on Goran Dragic to the San Antonio Spurs. So in today's video, we're going to cover who won this trade and if Raptors fans should be happy with what we got at the deadline. Let's get into it. What's going on, Raptors fans? This is Amateur Hour Sports, your source for Raptors content, dedicated Raptors content 4 times a week at least, even when I'm on vacation. As you can see, I'm not in my normal setup again. Currently in Italy, specifically right off of the outskirts of Milan. Milan is actually just like 50 to like 100 meters over this way, but currently on vacation, still getting those videos out. So make sure you're subscribed to the channel, because if you're liking the videos while I'm on vacation, you're gonna love the ones where I'm actually in the recording studio. And I put in the work to put out this content, so make sure you're supporting the brand. But trade deadline day has come and gone. The video is out later than normal timing wise, just because I wanted to see what sort of trades, if any other trades, were going to happen for the Raptors after the Goran Dragic trade. And unfortunately, we didn't get any other trades. It was just a Goran Dragic trade that happened, contrary to my belief from the previous video where I said you can expect a Goran Dragic trade, plus you can probably bank on another one happening. Well, we didn't get that, so we got to put our entire focus on this Goran Dragic trade. So what is the trade? The Toronto Raptors move Goran Dragic and a protected first-round pick for 2022 to the San Antonio Spurs for Thaddeus Young, Drew Eubanks, and as well as a 2022 second-round pick via the Detroit Pistons. And now let's just take a look at the surface of this one. I think that Raptors fans in general are going to be mostly okay with this or not a fan of this. I don't think there's going to be a lot of fans that are truly happy or really happy about this one. Yes, we get Goran Dragic off the books. We actually get a player who's going to help us in Thaddeus Young. We're going to get into that, but we move on from that first round pick. And I've been saying for months and months now that you really shouldn't be trading that first round pick unless you're getting somebody you are convinced is going to help you with future aspirations. Thaddeus Young is not that. Thaddeus Young, well, who is he? He's definitely past his prime, but Thaddeus Young offers you a lot. He's a very versatile power forward, standing at about 6'8", 6'9". I mean, he fits the bill of the Raptors completely, but what this team was missing was guard depth, was shooting depth, some guys who could space the floor off the bench, and a true center. As much as we needed some help on the bench, Thaddeus Young doesn't address a lot of the concerns this team has. Drew Eubanks, that's a nice little piece to throw in. He's a young player. He's just kind of a throw-in. If he doesn't work out, it doesn't really cost the Raptors much, just kind of a throw-in player, but you could get a little bit out of the player who is young on a very cheap contract. So let's address Goran Dragic. Obviously, we wanted him traded. According to you guys as voted in the poll, that was the most important thing for the Raptors. Get rid of that Goran Dragic contract at any cost. Well, that seemed like a nice theory, but then we actually saw what trading Goran Dragic at any cost was. And if the cost was a first-round pick, I'm personally not really understanding what we wanted to do here. I thought for sure that after this trade was made, something else was up the sleeve of Masai Ujiri or Bobby Webster. We did save some money in this trade. We actually got over $5 million in a trade exemption, which is quite nice. We don't have to pay for that first-round pick, the salary at the end of the season. We don't have to pay for the second-round pick, but even so, I am still a little bit concerned about this. I just want to say for the video, of course, it's not quite a first-round pick for a second-round pick. It's a protected first-round pick. It's protected 1 through 14 this year, 1 through 13 next year, and after that becomes 2 second-round picks. But let's be honest, the Raptors are going to be above a lottery pick in one of the next 2 years, so that's going to be a first-round pick going to the San Antonio Spurs. And Thaddeus Young on a rental, not really a position we needed. As much as I think Thaddeus Young is great for this team, I was happy to get him. Once I learned about the first-round pick being involved, I was a little bit upset. We don't drop that much with the pick. I mean, we go from a middle to late first-round pick. We go from, I would argue, 15 to 22 in the first round, and we get Detroit's 2022 second round pick. So that will be probably a 31, a 32, or 33 overall pick, which isn't that bad. We moved quite a bit, but I still think we moved too much to make this trade happen. I'm personally looking at it right now like Is it the worst thing in the world to just have Goran Dragic sit in Miami, not play for your team? It means giving up the first round pick. I mean, I think there's going to be a lot of divide amongst Raptors fans with this, and it's going to be kind of the same deal as last season. We were really on the fence about that Gary Trent Norman Powell trade. I really didn't like it at first. It grew on me. By the next day, I kind of liked it, but I don't see that really happening here. I have been preaching on this channel for like months now that the first round pick should not be involved unless it is helping your team address the concern of winning an NBA championship in the future. This trade doesn't really do that. Do I think Thaddeus Young is going to help out this team immediately? Yes, I do. But the bench pieces that are most reliable for the Raptors right now are Precious Achiuwa and Chris Boucher. Power forwards, 6'8", 6'9", versatile offense, versatile defense. Thaddeus Young fits that same category. So we're not really addressing the needs of this team. I don't mind Thaddeus Young. I think that's a good pickup for the Raptors, but the first round pick, I think just costs a little bit too much for the Raptors. Even if it only means moving down by like 10 to 15 picks in the draft, I think I would have liked that for the team for next season to add in some depth. Because again, we do need that depth. This doesn't address the depth a ton. That first round pick might have actually addressed that depth. And maybe I thought something else was going to happen for the Raptors. Maybe they were going to move Chris Boucher. They wanted to get a replacement right away, but that just didn't come to fruition for the Raptors. So ultimately, I'm a little bit disappointed with this. If you look at the track record of Masai Ujiri in terms of trades since coming to the Raptors, there really are no misses. And that's a good thing looking at this one, because maybe in a few months, maybe in a year, we look back on this one like it was a win for the Raptors. But look at Masai Ujiri's track record. In the draft, there's been some big hits. There's been some big misses. As it comes to trades, I can't think of one, and I looked it up. I can't find one where I can say the Raptors lost a trade. They have won virtually every trade Masai Ujiri has been a part of. Only one you can talk about a little bit is the Kyle Lowry one, but that's a sign and trade. It's always difficult for a sign and trade. At least you get something rather than nothing for Kyle Lowry. However, now we kind of look at the Kyle Lowry trade, because this is kind of the domino effect of that Kyle Lowry trade. So you get Goran Dragic and Precious Achiuwa. Dragic, obviously, you didn't really want that contract, but you wanted Achiuwa. In order to make that happen, you had to take the Goran Dragic contract. Whatever. Or is it? Because Goran Dragic, sure, you got him traded by the deadline. You get Thaddeus Young, you get Eubanks, you get that second round pick, but it costs you a first round pick. So in order to trade Kyle Lowry to the Miami Heat, we kind of have to look at it like this. We had to trade away, obviously, Kyle Lowry, but that's not really much. But you had to trade away a first round pick in order to make that happen. And you get Precious Achiuwa, Thaddeus Young, and Drew Eubanks, as well as that second round pick. So looking at it like that, it's not a horrible return, but I am really, really stinged about that first round pick going away. First round picks, I've had some people say they're overrated these days. First round picks, they don't mean as much. But for a Raptors team who really doesn't have that big of a market presence as it comes to free agency, that pick is going to matter. That pick matters to the team. The Raptors won an NBA championship off the back of using those mid to late first round picks on players who help out this team. That Toronto Raptors team won an NBA championship without a single lottery picked player on the roster. One of the most influential players was Pascal Siakam, who was picked late 20s. OG Anunoby wasn't healthy, but he was picked in the low 20s. So having those guys on our team did have an effect on the Raptors winning a championship. And those are the type of players that we can get with the draft, but we need the picks to do so. I'm thinking the Raptors are just trying to save money a little bit in this trade. Again, they get that trade exception and they don't have to pay that first round pick, a salary at the end of the season. They don't have to pay a second round pick. And maybe they're thinking they can get a guy who can help out this team early on in the second round. But looking at this one, I'm a little bit confused. And I think a lot of Raptors fans have the right to be confused in this situation. But I'm going to revisit last season where we were unsure about that Norman Powell for Gary Trent Jr. trade. Now we're not really unsure about that. We're pretty happy with that trade. I think it's pretty safe to say the Raptors ended up winning that trade. So I'm hoping we come around on this one. I'm hoping this one starts to look really good in maybe a year's time. And I think that's possible. The bottom line for this trade to end the video is I feel like the Raptors are trading that first and getting in some depth, some pricey depth at that, and Thaddeus Young and maybe a little bit of Drew Eubanks. if we're looking at it, the team, based on the decisions they've made here, Bobby Webster and Masai Ujiri are ready to go for it this season. I don't think there's any sort of notion that this team is going to start to tank again. I mean, I guess if we do, it's lottery protected. We still have that pick. But I think this is the sort of trade that your team makes when you are ready to go and start winning more games. We've won 7 games in a row. The Raptors want to continue to win games. The East is really tight right now. The Nets, they made that huge trade involving James Harden, but I mean, maybe their identity is a little bit in question. I think the Sixers, if James Harden is not playing like an MVP, maybe they falter a little bit as chemistry has kind of drifted away. All of these things considered, maybe the Raptors just feel like they can go for it right now, and this is a trade to go for it. Personally, I don't think this raises our ceiling anything above a second round exit. I think it's still a likely first round with a possibility of a second round exit for this team. And because of that, I really didn't want to give up that first round pick to not raise your ceiling as a team that much. That's just my opinion on it. I am generally, as it comes to the deadline, I am generally disappointed. I didn't want to trade that first. I wanted to trade Dragic, but not if it meant costing a first. I would have liked the depth of the team addressed, a true center, some shooting or some guard depth, and none of that was addressed either. So I'm just a little bit disappointed. I don't think this is an awful trade. I'm just not particularly pleased with it, but I would love to hear what you guys have to say in the comments down below. Thank you so much for watching this video. Please give a like on the video if you did enjoy, and remember to subscribe to the channel for dedicated Raptors content at least 4 times a week. I'm on vacation. I'm in Italy. I'm enjoying my vacation, but I'm still going out of the way to get this Raptors content out for you guys, so make sure you're supporting the channel. Super easy to give a like or a sub. Super quick for you to do, but it does support me a lot, and I would really appreciate it. We got how many more? Probably 2 more of these videos coming while I am on vacation. Sorry I haven't been able to stream, but thank you guys for understanding. I'll see you again next time for another video.